Still hunting. That's what the Reivers football team is doing in relation to the national title this year. Last year, the Reivers were on top before dropping to third. This year, they've climbed as far as they can go on their own. Now, they'll need some help. They also need to keep winning. Fort Scott, the Greyhounds, with some insider knowledge of the Reivers football program, they race away with the upset, or will the Reivers kennel the Dogs for a fifth straight time? We'll find out next. This is the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show. Highlights and more coming up on the Coach Stroh Show on IWTV and the Reivers Sports Network. From the studios of IWTV in Council Bluffs, this is the Coach Stroh Show. I'm Jake Ryan, along with the head coach of the Iowa Western Reivers football team, Mr. Scott Strohmeyer. Coach, you know that everybody's going to give you their best shot each and every game, especially as it gets later in the season and one team's fortunes are going one way and one's are going the other way. What did you expect to see from Fort Scott when you started this football game?
Well, I mean, I knew, like I said, they're in 3 weeks regardless. They're turning their pads in, and so you're going to. We're expecting to see everything and anything from them, and and I thought coming into it, I thought we were a little bit flat early on, and maybe that's because of the team we were playing, but we can't have that happen, and they gave us our best right away, and I thought our guys responded though.
Yeah, we've seen it previously with guys that were on your team being part of another team. Justin Blake for Iowa Central, for example. How about the coaching staff? We saw it 2 years ago in 2016. It was a surprise in game number one where a former member of your coaching staff was then on their coaching staff and didn't see him until after the game. So they might have known your game plan a little bit. What about this week? Obviously, a former coach on their sideline.
Yeah, I mean, knew all our defensive stuff being on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously going against our offense in a spring and a fall, and but at the same time, like I said, it's coming, and the players got to know it's coming, and they can communicate all they want, but knowing that they do have a little bit, they're probably going to attack us in a little bit different way, and it happens across all over, and at the end of the day, you got to have the players to make the plays.
All right, let's take a look at those highlights. What would Fort Scott have up their sleeves? Reivers coming out, set to go against Fort Scott. You see the Greyhounds coming out at near the same time, Coach, and you guys take the ball first, as you usually do. Is that something that if you win the toss, you're going to take it every time? You just want to get on top quick?
Well, that's the plan, but it didn't work out so good there. But, we like to start with the football, and it's kind of been a tradition now.
There you see a tip pass starting off not so good into the hands of Fort Scott, and then Fort Scott trying to move the ball down. Who were you thinking that you would see at quarterback? Their starting quarterback, Gunner C, got injured the week before.
I thought it was going to be the other guy, and then seeing him out there in warm-ups, and they ended up playing both of them.
Kalen Jennings nearly with the interception. You guys get the ball back. TJ will roll out of trouble, and again, just some quick chases. Throws to the near side. Javonte Richardson with a nice catch.
Yeah, and they did a good job. They changed up what they were doing, and here we are, 2 possessions, 2 turnovers. Not the way you want to start.
No, just pulled it back a little bit late, and then couldn't get the ball back into his midst. You see Willie O'Hara making one of his many tackles on the day. What a season he has had, not just a game.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's playing extremely well, and their defense overall has been playing really well.
TJ Starks finds a man on the sideline. Who else would it be? Michael Zachary. He's so much fun to watch once he's in space, isn't he?
For sure. I like it when he gets the ball and has a chance to make some moves and utilizes his strengths.
Starks to the far side. This time it's Zachary again. Makes a catch and almost uneventful push out of bounds, like, get out of here. Then to the end zone as Nick Singleton pulls it away. Nice move as he cuts back inside and then leaps the goal line.
Well, that one could have almost been called there too. Again, they pressured us, and TJ did a good job of getting it out and took a shot.
Speaking of pressure, the Reivers doing a great job. Great arm tackle by one of your defensive linemen. Then Clay Beathard has to come in. What happened to TJ? Just a little ankle sprain?
Yeah, it was the same one that bothered him. A couple weeks ago.
How about Beathard throwing off his back foot, finds Javonte Richardson. He makes a move, gets a few more yards, and then Beathard still on his feet. How about these feet of Clay Beathard?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's sneaky going through there and making people miss.
Thought he would almost got to the end zone. He settled for a Hunter Penninger field goal, and he puts it through. That's good to see on a day where you're not sure what the kicking game is going to be needed to do. Hunter Penninger starts out money.
Well, and it's good. I mean, for him, just from a confidence standpoint, you get him making a field goal there.
What a diving catch there. A fantastic interception. on the far side, and then Gerard Alton sets up the Reivers with Beathard to the sideline. How about Nick Singleton again with a nice catch, and couldn't get any more, but he sets you up for something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, you know, and I think that one got called back there, but you know, like I said, Clay gave us a little bit extra, you know, in the pass game.
And then Fort Scott to the end zone. Good play by Jamarian McDonald. He was called for pass interference, I believe, a play before that. Comes back strong, knocks it away.
Well, and it's good. You know, you got to have a short memory as a DB, and he did a really good job.
Beathard to Zachary, touchdown Reivers. What a strike that was. Great footwork by Michael in the corner as well.
It was good taking advantage of their coverage that they were playing against us, and it allowed Zachary, you know, one-on-one, and Clay made a good throw, and Zachary a good catch.
The front four, the front eight, the front nine, whatever you want to call it, they just continue to wreak havoc as you see another quarterback sack or tackle for loss on that play. And then Willie O'Hara, man, got a grip on C and just pulls him down.
Yeah, you know, he's a free blitzer, and you got to make a play in space, and he did.
Beathard and the Reivers back, and then up top, Russ said less than a minute they'll need, and guess what? They needed 8 seconds. You throw it down the middle of the field to Marcel Barbie. He makes a great catch off the arm of Beathard.
Well, you know, it's good. We came back to the same play we ran a couple times before, and he was wide open, so we kind of told him to take a peek.
A near interception. In fact, it is called back, I believe, pass interference called on the Reivers, but Jamarian McDonald, again, good job to get in there and put pressure on the receivers. This time, not so good pressure.
No, and that's, you know, it's frustrating because we had a turnover, and you just give them another chance, and here we go.
So you're up 24-0, and then 24-7. The Reivers, you try to go for a little bit more. Milton Sargba running well.
I'll tell you what, it's nice when he gets some room there and seeing him make some plays.
So a throw to the sideline, good catch, but you head to the half leading 24-7. Here's a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, you know, we tried. We had an opportunity that we really wanted to get some more points, but never got them.
Well, lots of good, but clearly some things to fix. We will check out the second half highlights when we come back. You're watching the Coach Stroh Show on Iowa Western Television and the Reivers Sports Network.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
I don't know, there's some trash talk going on, let's put it that way. And it's always the guy that retaliates that gets flagged for the penalty. How do you work with your guys? And obviously you saw it coming in this game, and you saw it coming as the first half went on. What did you tell them at halftime about how this game, don't let it cost you next game?
Well, we talk about it all the time. You know, I mean, you can't let your emotions, you got to be able to control your emotions. And, you know what, I wouldn't say that we're 100% innocent all the time, you know, but like I said, when they got nothing to lose, they, you know, what's the matter for them? And we have everything to lose. So it comes down to, you know, being disciplined enough to hold your emotions in. And, you know, I called the timeout in the game just to get our guys over and stress to them, you know, like let's just finish out this last 3 minutes and get out of here. But, you know, that's all you really can do. You got to be able to control your emotions at the end of the day.
Well, let's take a look at those second half highlights. Obviously the last 3 minutes, but what about the last 30 minutes? Reivers and the Greyhounds. Reivers kicking off to Fort Scott, up 24-7. Coach, as you get set to get underway here, The defense had played well. Did you expect anything else to happen? And obviously nothing else happens here on this first drive.
No, they, like I said, they came out and I thought they played extremely well. They had one play on us, and but offensively here we get one going, Milton. But I don't know if that one was that one called back?
Yeah, that one was called back. It was a pretty good run. What'd you think of the call?
Well, I thought some of them were maybe a little bit late in calls, and if it's a penalty, it's a penalty. But I thought some of them were stretched.
Yeah, that one from Sargba, he went all the way to the end zone, and the flag came out after the team had started celebrating, and it was a 50-yard run, so there was plenty of time to call that hold. Javonte Richardson stumbling out of bounds, and then Beathard again under pressure. So they brought a little bit more heat in the second half, but it just looked like their offense couldn't get going. Throw ball over the top, Isom and Hernandez are both there, and then the inside. And how about the big man almost picking it off? Devin Drew, I thought he was going to rumble for 6, but he dropped the interception.
I did too. Again, a great start to the defensively the second half. They never let up.
Beathard throws across the middle, and there is Nick Singleton. Had a quietly productive day. Would have been even more productive if not for a play that we see a little bit later. Gayflor Flomo comes in relief of Sargba. He's a punishing runner when he gets running downhill.
Yeah, I mean, you give him a little bit of a crease, and he's been running pretty good.
Hunter Penninger, another field goal. He gives the Reivers an even more advantage, 27-7. Their quarterback trying to roll out of pressure. Guess what? Not going to happen. Willie O'Hara sets the individual record for tackles in a season, and he is closing in on a great linebacker you had, Sam Marich.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're both really, similar type players. They're really productive and played hard and love to play football.
Near interception there as Beathard floated it up, but they can't hang on. Then to the near side of the end zone, and that one is picked off around the 2-yard line.
Yeah, again, it's good because our DB put them in a position we get a safety, but we obviously like to get a touchdown in that.
So again, just some of those turnovers that you're going to have to clean up. Willie celebrating the safety for the Reivers, and then Beathard, back to work, close to a face mask, and then has the presence of mind to roll down the field and bury it right into the hands of awaiting Nick Singleton.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, how he gets out of some of those things is pretty impressive.
Now you've got the luxury of having two pretty good quarterbacks. You seem to have two pretty good quarterbacks year in and year out, but this year I think Starks and Beathard both have their individual things that they do well, they also kind of mirror each other in other aspects of the game.
They do, and I feel comfortable with either of them really within the game plan.
All right, let's watch this one here. What was the problem? Drag of the shoes on the turf? What was it? I didn't see exactly what stood out.
They say it's celebration taunting prior to him getting in the end zone, which that's pretty close. I didn't even see it.
So they call that one back. You settle for another field goal. Hunter Penninger 3 for 3 on the day. Throw to the outside, and guess what? Right there. I mean, it was very kind of sad to watch the Fort Scott offense at times. They just couldn't get anything going, and their backup quarterback that ends up playing quite a bit of the game, he was in trouble for a lot of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's wreaking havoc. Our front four are, and letting our defense, the rest of the guys play.
When you've got a speedy back like Milton Sargba, sets up runs like that for Clay Beathard. He slides down. They spot him a yard back of where he actually ended up, which I thought was questionable. And then Milton, nice run to get into the end zone for the second time this season.
It's good to see him, breaking a few tackles and getting kind of in a groove.
Running game for Fort Scott, not quite there. How about the passing game? That one works this time, sliding down, first down reception made.
Yeah, they're going to get some. We got some of our backups in right now, so it's good to see them make some plays here at Cale
Smith getting an interception, nice play, and the Reivers taking over. So all in all, a 39-7 win. A little bit disappointed in the way it ended, though.
Yeah, there was just too many penalties, and I thought we didn't hold our composure extremely well at times, and you have to do a better job in games like this.
Yeah, very long third and fourth quarter. The fourth quarter might have been the longest that the Reivers have ever played, as you see Fort Scott going again down the field. Nice tackle made by Drew Dostal. The fumble out of the end zone. Reivers take over. Another great performance for the Reivers, 39-7. You get through what was a very long second half, Coach. You talked about calling the timeout. Let's get through this last 3 minutes, but it seemed like forever. That might be the longest fourth quarter we've ever played.
I would agree with you, and part of it was, what they were doing defensively made us throw the football a little bit, and then they're going to throw it because they're behind, And then there was a lot of those yellow things flying around that stopped the clock too. But it was a long fourth quarter, and I thought we got through it. That's about as easy as I can put it.
Well, we could talk about the over 30 penalty flags, but let's talk about the bright spots. Willie O'Hara, I mean, what a year for him. He sets the single-season tackle record. He's on his way to Sam Marish's record, which when Sam set that, he had to do a lot of tackling in those first couple of years for the Reivers. Now you look at Willie, and you said it yourself, he didn't look like he could play college football coming in, and he has really not only disproven you, but he continues to disprove people constantly.
Yeah, he does, and he's playing with so much confidence too, and he's got some good players around him for sure, but he's still got to make those plays and making tackles for loss in the backfield, and just he plays with such a high motor and intensity. When the ball's snapped to when it's the whistle, he's going as hard as he possibly can every single snap he's out there. And he's a great kid who's earned everything that he's gotten right now.
Well, definitely a nose for the football. 4th straight victory for the Reivers, and of course the 5th straight victory over Fort Scott. It sets up an exciting game with Butler this weekend. We will talk Grizzlies and Reivers in a bit, but coming up next, we'll talk with a guy that is paving his own path here at Iowa Western. Quarterback Clay Beathard will join the show next. This is the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show on the Reivers Sports Network.
Things starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
When it comes to saving money,
What?
Parents! Don't act like a baby.
Oh, it's like they're having their own little meeting. This is so humiliating.
Be the boss.
I'm the boss.
What the?
Power nap. You were saying.
And make a budget.
Let's get to work.
Need a little help?
Stacy, read back the notes.
I can't read. What's it say?
Create a personalized savings plan and get other tools and tips.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
At feedthepig.org.
This is the Coach Stroh Show. I'm Jake Ryan. After 3 stellar weeks on both sides of the football, the Reivers bye week jumped in to slow the flow just a bit. After a mild start to Saturday's game, Iowa Western cruising to another victory, this time 39-7 over Fort Scott. And spurring the offense of Saturday was quarterback Clay Beathard. Clay, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
So we know all about your lineage. We know who your brothers are, and we know who your grandfather is. And I know that you've probably had all the questions that come along with that. Tell us, the sports fans that are around campus here that don't get the access that you get having those kind of relationships, what kind of cool things do you get to do because of that stuff?
Well, I mean, you get to not only learn a lot of stuff from them within the craft of the game, but you get to meet a lot of cool people, get to hang around people, grow up around people that usually like big names, but I mean, I don't think of it like that. Even as a little kid, when my grandpa was a GM at the Falcons, we grew up around Michael Vick and everything. I was a little kid and thought they were just normal people. And then you look back, it's like, dang, I had a childhood with some pretty cool people. And then now you still see a lot of those people. And it's cool, but I mean, it puts everything in perspective that we're all, I mean, everyone's the same when you start to get to know everybody. And yes, sir.
And that's what people don't realize when they're watching those guys on TV on Sunday, that that it's just normal. Like to you, you've been around it for such a long time, it's normal. But for everybody else, like the fans, I'm sure you've seen it. The fans get real geared up for that kind of thing, don't they?
Oh yeah, yes sir. Yeah, it's crazy, and it also comes into becoming a fan. People ask who's your favorite team, and then at this point, there's a lot of stuff. It's like my favorite. I kind of root for people. I want to see certain people do good, and then the fact that I kind of know some people in the NFL, it makes me just root for them rather than team. It's cool.
Do you watch Niners games on Saturday with a little bit of extra? Do you see things, and do you guys talk about it afterwards, you and CJ?
Yes sir. Yeah, I always critique him.
Yeah.
Give him. No, I'm kidding. Not really, but yes sir. I watch them. We talk every now and then after games. Not every time, but just talk about the game. We try. Actually, the more we talk, we keep football out of the conversation mostly, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. They always ask about the game, what he says, but that's not what he wants to talk about. That's not what we want to talk about when we talk. We're brothers at the end of the day, so it's a lot more going on.
Okay. So tell us about how you came into Iowa Western. Why did you choose Coach Stroh?
Oh, because, I left the school I was at, UT Martin, because a lot of culture change, wasn't as disciplined, and I came here. There was a lot of the Kansas JUCOs, I heard it wasn't as disciplined, and here it's almost like the structure of a 4-year school, the way he goes about it, and it's discipline, culture, family bond. That's really what got me here, and the high level of competition, and knowing it's a good school. That's one reason that brought me here.
Now, how about you and the other quarterbacks on the team, Colton Wilwarding, TJ Starks? You guys are always ready, no matter who's on the field. You watch down there on the field, and you guys are always tuned in to what's going on in the game. Well, describe your relationship a little bit with the other guys on the team.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. It's between Colton and TJ. It's not like you would expect us. We're all like, I want the spot. We all are ready. We all think of ourselves as starters. So if we go in, it's just we got a common goal of winning the game. That's what's also different about this program. A lot of other schools, we try to take the selfishness out of it, and we got a goal to get a national championship. So whoever's in there, that's our goal, and we're going to cheer each other on.
When your number was called on Saturday against Fort Scott, what kind of things were you seeing?
I don't know. I was just as like a defense.
Just like when you came in, were you seeing things on the sideline that when TJ was in, then he got dinged up a little bit, you got your opportunity? Did you kind of take that experience of watching the game early, the first couple drives, and then put that into process?
Yeah, yes sir. Yeah, I do. Every time you get to look at it, which kind of helps. I looked at it, they were bringing a lot of pressure, man, trying to fluster us. So thought, man, if I could just get it out quick, then maybe they'll start backing off and stuff. That's one thing I took from it.
Yeah, a couple touchdown passes. You had a third that got called back because they said Nick was high stepping or something. But you seem to have a pretty good relationship with number 17 out there. You and Marcel have hooked up quite a few times. I know that you don't have a favorite because you'll throw to whoever is open in the route, but do you and Marcel have something special going, or is that just highlighting the touchdowns of the game?
He's a great player. There's nothing special. He's a great receiver. Love Marcel, but throw to whoever's making plays is making plays, and he's a great receiver. It just happens how it happened.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate you more being a team guy and making sure that you're ready to go whenever your number's called. So thanks again for being a Reaver, and thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Clay Beathard, quarterback, a very interesting story, as many of the Iowa Western Reavers have when they come to campus, and we appreciate everything they do when they come in. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with Coach Stroh right after this on the Iowa Western Television and the Reaver Sports Network.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Got a quarter? all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
From Council Bluffs, Iowa, and the studios of IWTV, this is the Coach Stroh Show. Well, every week has been a big one this season, but this week a little bit bigger. A chance to go 1-0 will not be easy. Coach, you face the Reivers' biggest rival, arguably, in the Butler Grizzlies, and it's a place that you guys have not won in 2 opportunities. This will be your 3rd. It's the back end of the season. It's probably the latest you've played them in a season, aside from the bowl games where you've met them. Mm-hmm. What do the Grizzlies bring to the table this year, other than a solid football team as they do year in and year out?
You know, they are. They're well coached, and going through the film, it's nice to play teams that the players are doing what they're supposed to do. So I wouldn't say it's easier to scheme, but I mean, the kids see what we're trying to get across to them, and it's a tough place to play. I mean, they got a great atmosphere. Their team plays completely different at home than they do on the road, in my opinion. And we've learned that firsthand. I said earlier, it might have been the worst loss in my time at Iowa Western that we got out there a few years ago. Physically got dominated out there. So, and we were banged up, but they weren't picked to be as high either. So they're going to be ready to go. They're physical. They're fast. They're athletic. They're well coached. We got to bring our A game for sure.
It's a fun week of preparation, isn't it? Getting ready for this one.
For sure. I mean, and that's what that's what you play for. That's what you coach for. Is, I'd much rather play a Butler team than preparing for a Fort Scott team that's 2-5. I promise you that. So both teams are going to be fired up and ready to go, and small college football at its finest.
Yeah, should be a great game, that's for sure. That does it for this week's show. Last home game is next weekend, the 10th of November. The Reivers will face Highland at home, so make sure to make plans to be at Titan Stadium for Sophomore Day, and of course our tribute to the United States Armed Forces. This week, make plans to stay nice and cozy around your radio and your TV. We'll have the game at 1 o'clock from Butler's gorgeous stadium on Reaver Vision and, of course, 89.7 The River. Pregame will begin at 12:30 on the radio. We'll bring you the game on video a little bit closer to kickoff. We will talk to you later. And thanks again to the IWTV crew for executing and completing this week's show. And, of course, thanks to our guest, sophomore quarterback Clay Beathard, for head coach Scott Strohmeyer. I'm Jake Ryan, reminding you to wear your blue, be loud, and go Reivers. Talk to you next week.